Creatures of the night, it's your girl Tati. Let's talk about Dynamite. We did start off with a Continental Classic match from the Blue League. We had Shelton Benjamin versus Kyle Fletcher, which I was just like, oh, this is not the main event. Okay. I would figure something like that would have probably ended off the show. We started off with a really great match, and I'm telling you, as much as Kyle Fletcher has really won a lot of people over, especially with his style in the ring, I have to say, like, Shelton was still dominating in this match, which I kind of felt like would be the case. I didn't think like whatever would happen here would be easy for Kyle Fletcher. Now, once I get towards the end of the match, we had Shelton hit like a 2 billion German suplexes, and he even gave him that knee strike to the face, and I was just like, well, this is definitely gonna put the dog down. But instead, we had Kyle Fletcher, who ends up pinning Shelton, but also holding onto the ropes at the same time to put in that pressure onto the ropes so that he can really lock in that pin. And referee apparently ain't seeing this shit. Shelton knows because he looks so pissed off after this. And if you didn't know, he definitely ended up finding out later on that night. And when I tell you, Kyle Fletcher and Uncle Don was out of the state in like 2.5 seconds. They were out of there because they didn't want no smoke with the Hurt Business. We'll talk a little bit more about the Hurt Business in a moment. Now, get a little recap of the Continental Classic and what's to come. Just for anybody who didn't know, our boy Juicy Robinson is no longer in the Continental Classic. Unfortunately, he broke his leg apparently during that match that he had with Okada. I watched that match back yesterday after they announced it, and I was just like, I personally could not tell when this injury happened. Whatever situation is, Juice, we love you and speedy recovery. This is definitely one of those situations where we actually talked about this a week ago. Like, have they ever mentioned what would happen if somebody got injured? Well, not that I know of, but Juice is out and he is replaced with Commander. Some people are happy about it, some people are not. And I'm just like, hey, somebody got to take all the L's in the gold lead. So there you go. Juice Robinson gone, and we have Commander who is in. Now, after this, we do have Hook, who comes out there looking like he just got off the school bus. And long story short, he's calling out Nick Wayne to come on out. He's like, look, I don't have to wait until we get to New York to whoop your ass. Come on out right now and come get this ass whooping. Now, our stepdaddy music hits, and we do have Christian and Mama Wayne who's coming out through the entrance. However, we do have Nick Wayne and Kip Sabian who comes out, and they end up attacking Hook. Now, they end up putting his arm in between two chairs, basically the concerto, and end up giving his hand a concerto. And while I'm not mad about this, I kind of wish this played out a little bit different. Hook is boring to me. And this whole little saga that Hook got going on with this group is not hitting the way I wanted. So I kind of wish this happened in another way where it felt a little bit more entertaining to me. But either way, they're continuing the story really with Hook and Nick Wayne, and that's a good thing because I've been saying that this match needs to happen so that Hook can be exposed for the bad wrestler that he is. Now, after this, we do have CEO, who is being interviewed by Renee Paquette. She always tell Renee, like, look, when you see me, don't just start asking me questions and shit. And then here comes Renee with the hard-hitting question, like, what happened to Camille? Was that you? And she says, look, I don't know what happened to Camille. Camille was fired, and whatever happened to her ain't got nothing to do with me. But Miss Anna J, you seem like you want to get your hands on this title. We'll see about that. Now, we'll talk about these two a little bit later on the review. So now the Hurt Syndicate, they're back there and they're talking to Shelton Benjamin, and they're really upset. And they're like, why did you hurt Kyle Fletcher? We don't want you to just go out there and just win. Like, we want you to be hurting people. We the Hurt Business, that's what we do. Now, They go on to say that they're disappointed in Shelton, which I always feel like is worse when somebody say that they're not mad, they're disappointed. Now, they end up walking away from Shelton. Some poor unfortunate soul was just walking by on his little phone, and he got his ass whooped by Shelton. And another security guard is trying to stop it, and then that's when Bobby and MVP come back, and they got their ass whooped. And while that's happening, they end up knocking a few chords or whatever. We didn't see anything for a little bit, and things was all jumbled up, and we couldn't hear what was going on. Then we started hearing what's going on. It was a mess, but I felt like we get the point. We see that there's a little bit of an issue in terms of the Hurt Syndicate. They really want to live up to the name. Shelton is going to have to take L's within this Continental Classic. However, there's going to be some wins here, so we'll see what ends up happening for Shelton in the future, at least within this group. Now, after this, we have the Dynamite Dozen Battle Royal, blah, 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 whatever it's called. This was probably the worst Battle Royal that I've seen them do. And the reason why I'm saying this is because we understand MJF has taken the wins 5 times or whatnot for past 5 years. I love our scumbag, so I'm okay with it. I know other people are just like, you know what, we need another winner. This match here qualifies who will get a chance to go against MJF for the damn ring. Sometimes I wonder, where are these people coming from? We had, obviously Adam Cole was the only person that actually make an entrance to the ring. Everybody else was already in there. We had Top Flight, Action Andretti, Leo Rush, Evil Uno, for whatever reason, was there. Lance Archer, Brian Cage, the Butcher, who obviously ain't doing anything tonight, was over there. Mark Davis was over there. Am I missing somebody? I feel like that's like less than 12, but you get the gist. Those are the people who were over there. And for me, I was like not happy about this. Like, when you see these people, you already knew who was going to end up winning this thing. And I feel like, where is the element of surprise? Where is the everybody who's in here deserve to be in here? And this is no shade to any of the wrestlers, because I really do love and appreciate what they do, but how is somebody like the Butcher qualified to be in this? What match has he ever won? And I honestly just don't know. Like, sometimes these situations is just like, all right, well, we got so-and-so who's still employed in the group, in the company, so let's just put them on. Sometimes it has to make more sense in this, in terms of how does somebody get to be in that situation. And for me, all it felt like, we got to do something so that we can just have Kyle O'Reilly and Adam Cole to be the last two standing in here. And that's exactly what they did, which they just bullshit us by giving everybody something to do so that it can literally be just those two in the end. Am I mad about it? Not mad. I'm not necessarily happy about it, because it's very predictable because of the whole storyline thing going on with MJF. And I get it. But for me, I just feel like, at what point are we going to feel surprised about these little battle royals? Why are things so dead obvious in your face, where it's like, I don't have to watch this to know what's going to happen. You're already telling me exactly what I know is going to happen. It's going to happen. And at that point, it takes the fun out of everything. So we do have Adam Cole and Kyle O'Reilly, who will be facing each other next week. Winner of that match will go on to face MJF for the Dynamite ring. And honestly, I don't know. I don't know if I care about it, because the predictability is such a killer. We'll see. I would be very interested to see if it was Kyle O'Reilly that ended up take the win out of those two. MJF does make his little appearance via satellite, basically saying like he knew that's where it was going to go between those two. He's over these guys, and he's like, whatever the situation is, he's going to end up winning, and he's going to continue to be holding on to that ring. And honestly, at this point, that don't even sound like a bad idea. After this, we get another vignette from Julia Hart. She's not physically in it, but you can hear her voice, and she is calling out Jamie Hayter and how she wants to get her hands on Jamie. It was very spooky, very eerie, and I love it. The person who's actually been doing the vignettes for Julia, I've been seeing her post on X how she's doing these things, and everything that she's doing is just like, whoa, this is what I'm talking about when it comes to creativity. Like, I'm a person that I love to see creativity. When I see little things like this, it just makes me feel happy, because I'm just like, this is not a typical get on the mic and talk shit about somebody. This is you doing a vignette talking shit about somebody, and it looks good. And I want to see more presentations like this for other wrestlers as well. Whoever this person is that's doing this, they got a job forever over there in AEW. Now after this, the Acclaim, they're arguing backstage. Nobody seems to be on the same page, especially Max Caster, who has a match with Swerve. Max Caster comes out and say whatever he said, talking about, oh, your house burned down or whatever, but that's okay because I can go live with your mom and be your daddy, whatever. I was very disappointed with this. Very disappointed. It really felt like, for me who don't give a damn about Max Caster, I wanted this to be a beatdown, an absolute Swerve just massacring Max Caster. This was more of a, you already saw that Max Caster gave up from the jump and let his ass get whooped. This wasn't even a good ass whooping. This was just like 3 house calls, nobody answered the phone, and that was pretty much it. I was just like, what is this? I did not like how this went at all. There is potential to make this a much bigger thing. And I feel like it happened in a way where it's just like, we're not going to hear from Max for a long time. And it's over. There's nothing between the two of them, because Swerve just put him out, and not in the best way. I felt that so much more could have went into this. It almost felt like, he just laid there and took the beating. And I don't like to see that, especially when you deserve an ass whooping. I want to see you get the ass whooping you deserve. Now, after the match, Max Caster's still laying in the ring. Swerve is just about leaving. He's just thinking, he's like, should I go back there and whoop his ass? And I was just like, yes, Swerve, I'll hold your bag while you go whoop his ass. Instead, he gets on the top ropes and give him a stomp to the chest. And then that's it. That could have been so much better. I don't know what the hell happened. What's going to happen with Swerve and Max Caster at this point? No fucking clue. Now after this, we do have Jay White versus Pac and Tony Khan. Thank you. This was a battle of the abs, and that's what I needed. I needed to see just 2 men in there with just lovely abs so I could stare at. This was a really great match, and I really enjoyed seeing these two together. Wheeler Yuta was out there. He came out of the blue while Pac was walking through the crowd. I thought that was some crazy fan trying to follow Pac to the ring. And Wheeler Yuta was getting involved throughout this match. So in a way, it was kind of like a handicap match, but whatever. Who's watching? Here's the thing. They're definitely continuing on with the story between the two of them, which I'm cool with. Well, not the two of them. There's a whole bunch of people involved in this story. And we got a good little match out of this. Wheeler Yuta, who is being a ride or die and just still doing whatever it takes to win over the Death Riders. And somehow, some way, even with all that cheating, Jay White ends up taking the win. Now, his mouth was all busted open from what, honestly, I didn't even really see what that was. But hopefully he's all right. Now, after all this foolishness goes on, Wheeler Yuta with the beatdown, and Marina and them came out there. John Moxley came out there and gave, what's his name, Jay a paradigm shift. And Hangman came out there in people's business for whatever reason. I don't even know what that was about. And while Moxley was walking away, what looked like the cameraman or somebody who's over there that worked with the company was walking by the camera, actually turned out to be this loser, Orange Cassidy, with a hoodie on and everything, and ended up getting a scuffle with John Moxley. Even Marina put her hands on him, but that wasn't enough, unfortunately. And then at the end of this whole thing, Death Riders pretty much looking like losers. And then we have Orange Cassidy, Jay White, and we had Hangman, which is pretty much be like, well, I don't like none of you motherfuckers in here, but we all got a common enemy, so we might as well stick together. What was interesting, though, is after Moxley, obviously, who got sucker punched from the orange punch and all this shit happened to him, Blade Runner and all this shit, Buckshot Lariat, the whole thing. Now here come our stepdaddy just creeping on out, being like, let me see if I can cash in. But he's like, you know what, there's too many people over here. This is not the time to cash in, and rightfully so. It was kind of funny to see him peeping out. But it looks like the story still continuing. We need more with the whole Death Riders thing. So Tony Khan, let's get all of our creative juices going, because there's something here. We just need it to play out a lot better than what it has been these past few weeks. So we get a promo from Jamie Hayter, who is waiting to get her hands on Julia Hart. She is in the semifinals for the International Women's Cup to represent AEW at the Wrestle Dynasty pay-per-view. So we'll see what ends up happening with that. I personally think she's not going to get it. I really do feel like, unfortunately, I love you, Willa, I do, but I'm just a little bit sick of the same old thing. I think she's going to end up winning the whole thing, while Julia Hart ends up costing Jamie Hayter her opportunity to be representing AEW in that pay-per-view in Japan. I'm just tired of the same old shit. After this, Chris Jericho with a New York Minute with breaking news and all this foolishness, and he ends up putting out there about the whole Ring of Honor show coming out. He mentions the Honor Club, little thing like that. I'm just like, oh, I ain't never heard y'all promote that damn app ever. I do more promoting of the Honor Club than AEW does, to be honest with you. So it's interesting to hear that, but I don't want to see no Chris Jericho on my TV. No way, no way. Now we do get a cool little cowboy like vignette, and it turns out we're going to get the return of Bandito. Bandito, we've been praying for you. Bandito had broke his wrist. He thought it was going to be a short injury, but when he had went for another x-ray, they were just like, bro, it's worse than what we thought. So he had been gone for quite some time. I remember him going live, and he was really, really upset about finding out that he was going to be out longer than what he initially had hoped for. So he's going to be back, and hey, we cannot wait. I'm happy about this. After this, we get a really great match with Penelope Ford and Anna Jay. Another predictable thing going on the show. However, I'm tired of women's wrestling kind of feeling like, hey, the ladies, just give them a couple of minutes to do something. I just don't understand why we cannot see more of them. What does gender or sex have to do with how much TV time you should have? And for me, I just wish we would get a little bit more. These are why things like this, where I just feel like, oh, like a Rampage episode could be women's only, or just focus a little bit more on the ladies. I don't want to feel like what the ladies are doing are just an afterthought. Anna Jay obviously takes the win. She gets this thing going on with CEO. CEO comes out after Anna Jay ends up kind of calling her out on the mic. CEO comes on out there. They get into the ring, and Anna Jay slaps the shit. Well, you know what? That was not even a slap the shit out of her. That was a little thing to the face. And CEO's just like, you know what? I'm not going to get into this with you tonight. This is going to be on my terms. So she ends up sliding out the ring and not giving us really what we're thinking we're going to get at that point. So whatever the situation is, it's looking definitely Anna Jay versus CEO, which is very interesting to see Anna Jay getting back-to-back opportunities at both champions. That title ain't going nowhere. Now after this, we do have Mina Shirakawa, who's doing an interview with Mariah May. She said, what she said? She said, it's easy to go out there and keep putting your tits out, but baby, you're gonna have to find some real work. When she said that, I was just like, well, she's right about that. Now, while she's talking, we do have Mina Shirakawa who comes out. Renee Paquette was gone in a split of a second. The second that she saw Mina come out, because she didn't want to get into no little scuffle with anybody, Mina comes out with a champagne bottle and said, well, baby, whatever it is that you're trying to do, why don't you put me to work? And that was pretty much it. They didn't fight each other, nothing. Mina ends up walking away. Great. Main event, Brody King, Lord have mercy, Brody King, Claudio Castagnoli, Lord have mercy. Both of these guys are just so dreamy. In the main event, we had that little overtime money, because obviously there's a 20-minute time limit. So it went a little overtime. Now, nobody can come ringside or anything, so no shenanigans with the Death Riders. Really great match between the two of them. I was looking at Brody to take the win, but apparently Brody had beaten Claudio last year during the Continental Classic, which I did not remember. Very interesting, to say the least. My money was still on Brody to take the win. Claudio Castagnoli, I guess he realized that, hey, Death Riders took a lot of L's tonight, so he was going to have to work a little bit harder. So the match continues with the two of them, and I'm still having my money on Brody. However, Claudio kind of holds on to the ref in a distracting way, but he's still really close to Brody, and at the same time is able to kick Brody in the fucking nuts. And that's all he needed. The referee just didn't see it. Bryce, you gonna need some glasses. And he goes for the neutralizer for the win. It's a heel thing to do, which I do appreciate, but sometimes I wish I just wish it happened a different way. It's something a little bit more entertaining, and not this typical way that you would see from a heel. A low blow, like anybody can kick somebody in the nuts. It would have been cool to see him cheat to win a different way. Just like how, well, you know what? We already saw somebody cheat to win, which was Kyle Fletcher earlier in the night. I'm going to be honest, not every night is just going to be a perfect night. For me, I felt like, okay, we're moving along with things, and some things I felt entertained with, and certain things I did not. I would say that we can just use a little bit more creativity. There's writers in the room somehow, some way, I heard. And sometimes it just doesn't feel like we have a lot of people putting their brains together to come up with really great ideas and really great stories. Sometimes it just feels like we got a little something for you. We couldn't think of anything more to do. So this is it. We need a lot more creative minds when it comes to how we portray pro wrestling on TV, and I think that would help with people really wanting to tune in. Unfortunately, people are making a lot of fuss about AEW ratings going down these past few weeks, and I'm seeing the numbers, and I'm wondering if that has anything to do with what I feel like is a lack of creativity. I mean, there is some there, but I feel like if things felt to be more creative and these stories to really flow well, that people would be more interested. Honestly, I'm not sure what it is with these numbers going down for AEW as of late. But there's a new year coming, and I'm hoping that with a new year, that there would be a different mindset in terms of how to win these fans back and how to get some new fans as well. And one thing that will definitely help is to just get more creative minds to have better shows. Now on Friday, all the matches that's going to be on Rampage are Continental Classic matches. And yes, last year they only had one match out of the whole tournament to be on Rampage. This year seems to be different. So Rampage will have some matches on there, and then as well as Saturday as well. They're really pushing with the Continental Classic tournament, so I do appreciate that. So Rampage should be a great show. If anything, that would definitely encourage people to watch Rampage this week. Guys, thanks so much for watching my review. I will be back tomorrow for a review on Ring of Honor. See you guys then. Bye.